could be currencies that are having some issues, causing like this tidal wave of market downturn. And I do want to preface that this is not financial advice in any way, shape, or form. And this is just my personal analysis of what is going on in the market and what I am seeing based on the astrology. Moving into the next cycle. So in case you don't know, I look at the cycles for the crypto market from new moon to the next new moon, because the moon is a large influence on our emotions. Hence, it influences the traders and the markets. And I've also learned that it's just more accurate, I feel, looking at it from the new moon to the next new moon. So next new moon is on November the 20th. It's in Scorpio and at 1:46 a.m. And this is the day that Uranus is in a sextile to Neptune in the sign of Taurus. It's at 29 degrees. Let's take a look at the chart. Let me read what I wrote first here. So it could be an unexpected turn of events. Leading up to the moon could be positive. It's like I said, the 18th and 19th, the 2 days prior to this new moon. During this new moon, Mars will square the North Node, and the Sun and the Moon will be conjunct to Lilith. These are challenging. This could turn out to be a very challenging day and cycle, with sudden unexpected turn of events causing cycle to go down, or maybe not the whole entire cycle, but have a downward turn at some point within the cycle. On the new moon in Bitcoin's chart, the North Node will sextile the Sun, and this, I believe, will be the saving grace for the market this cycle. The moon and the sun are also square to Bitcoin's Venus, supporting unexpected value or turn and change in value for Bitcoin. Let me tell you what that means. So this is a chart of the new moon. This takes place on November the 20th, 1:46 a.m. This is Eastern Standard Time. Adjust your times accordingly if you live in different parts of the world or different time zones than this is in. Now, Neptune, 29 degrees, is sextile to Uranus right here at 29 degrees of Gemini. The 29 degrees is, they're both retrograde as well. So those are two things that make me feel that this isn't going to be the most positive transit for financial markets. 29 degrees is the ending, and they're both retrograde. So it's not moving in a forwards direction, getting ready to move to the next sign. They're retrograde. They're going back over these degrees that they have been at. Uranus was here in July of this year at around the 29 degree mark, and Neptune was around 29 degrees in March, at the end of March, right before the eclipse, or maybe it was during the eclipse. So it's going over some sensitive areas and periods within this year so far. Another reason I feel that this could not be as positive, and again, I could be completely incorrect in this, again, not financial advice, this is just what I am analyzing. Mars here is squaring to the North Node. Mars is in Sagittarius, 11 degrees, and it's squaring the North Node at 14 degrees of Pisces. Oh, also, we have the sun and the moon that are both opposite to Uranus. Sudden, unexpected turn of events. Mars squaring this North Node, challenging the direction, challenging the market's direction. Mars, in the past, with with market crashes, Mars has been the catalyst to cause a crash. I'm not saying that this is going to be a disastrous crash on this day. What I am saying is I don't feel that this is going to cause an all-time high. And there could be a couple scenarios. The market could be going up, 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 especially the couple of days before this new moon, and then all of a sudden there's some sort of crash that occurs, or strong downturn in the market. That's one scenario. Or this could just turn out to be negative, especially with the sun opposite to and the moon opposite to Uranus. Something else that could occur would be that it is just positive and there is no negative downfall from this. But again, I feel like it's not going to be that one. I feel like it's going to be this transit is going to be challenging for the market. And regardless of which way it goes, it is going to cause strong price movement, sudden change of price direction, or all of a sudden just the market moves, whether it's up or down. Just suddenly it just starts to run. That's how I see it for this new moon. Other thing that we have here is it's a kite in the chart. We have Jupiter coming into an opposition with Pluto. Now, Jupiter is retrograde, so it's going to be moving away from this. So it's not a strong kite pattern, but it's still there. It's still present. Pluto at the top, Jupiter at the bottom. Pluto at the top here is a concern because this is the planet that is having the strong effect. It's directing which way what is going, how it's going to go. Jupiter opposite to Pluto and Jupiter's retrograde. It could be that transforming the prices, retracing of the prices. This is another reason why I feel that this Uranus and Neptune sextile is not going to be a bull market run-up high. Again, that's my feeling, that's my thoughts. It could be completely the opposite. It could be fantastic. But what I'm seeing is I feel like this is going to be a challenge. The 20th, perhaps maybe we won't see the effects of it. Maybe it'll be the day before. Maybe it'll be the day afterwards. But I feel that this is going to cause a major market downturn in the prices. Or, let me rephrase that, major market movement of either upwards or downwards, but major market price movement during this time. And this could start on the 18th, the 19th, the 20th especially, and last in through the 21st, 22nd. Yeah. Now, the saving grace here, again, for this is that during this new moon, North Node will be sextile to Bitcoin's sun. And that is exact in December. Right? Yes, it's exact in December. So that transit alone could be helping to maybe keep things positive, or possibly not allowing the market to go down as far as it could if it is a downturn in the prices. It's going to be a very this transit on the 20th and the new moon on the 20th here is going to be very strong movement in the market. And I think that's as far as I want to say for that, because it could go either way. And you heard why I said and what I feel about it. 21st to the 24th, it's mixed emotions. If the 20th turned out to be very positive, it could continue to rise. If the 20th turned out to not be positive and went in the opposite direction, it could continue to go down or have more of a negative sentiment in the market. And I say this because there is a very large mix of transits going on. The 21st, Sun is opposite to Uranus. That is challenging. but also on the 21st, Sun is trying to Neptune. So it's like the market's trying to find its footing again, almost like it doesn't know which way to go. Does it want to go up? Does it want to go down? Because of the large mix of transits occurring along with Uranus and Neptune. On the 21st, Mercury is still retrograde, is conjunct to Lilith. When planets seem to be talking to Lilith, positive aspects could seem to have a positive direction, but when it's next to it or having a challenging aspect, it seems to be negative for the market. But again, I'm just going back and saying that there's just a lot of mixed signals between the 21st and the 24th. So back to the 20th, the 21st to the 24th could follow and echo what happened on the 20th of November from that full moon, because of this such a mix of transits that are occurring that have the ability to move the market up and down. But we're under this Uranus and Neptune sextile, so that will dictate the 21st through the 24th. A little bit simpler is what happens on the 20th will, whether it's up or down, will that will be the momentum throughout from the 21st through the 24th of November after the full moon, the new moon, the new moon. November 25th through the 30th. The 25th, we have Mercury squaring to Neptune. This is in Bitcoin's chart. We have the Sun trine the Moon in Bitcoin's chart again. This could be just a mix of fear and greed, regular market movement. More like in the morning time, it could begin with challenging momentum, and then towards more the end of the day, it could just turn to more of a positive momentum throughout the market. Just for the fact that Mercury squaring to Neptune happens early in the morning, and the Sun trine Bitcoin's moon happens more towards the evening. So it just could be a split day of challenges in the morning and then becoming more positive towards the evening. The 26th is looking to be more positive, looking to be moving in more of a one direction, not just this confusion and volatility of not knowing which way it wants to go. That's because on the 27th, Saturn stations direct, and on the 29th, Mercury stations direct. So starting on the 26th, we could start to see the market have more of a positive, more momentum, positive emotions towards the market. Saturn direct, I feel, is going to really help clear up a lot of things that have happened previously since the new moon of this cycle, and actually also from all of November. Saturn rules Bitcoin's chart because Bitcoin has Saturn Capricorn at the ascendant. So with it going direct, this is a big deal for Bitcoin. This is good. This is positive. Hold on. The 26th, we're on the 20. Okay, sorry, we're on the 26th. And also on the 26th in Bitcoin's chart, Mercury sextiles to Saturn. So the 26th, in general transits, Venus trines to Saturn, Bitcoin's chart. Mercury trines to Bitcoin Saturn. So I do see the 26th as positive, enhanced by Saturn getting ready to station to move in a forward direction. 27th, I also see as positive. The 28th, Venus is next to Lilith. This could be positive, or this could just be volatile, but with the influence of Saturn being direct, it could prove to be positive. The 29th, Mercury stations direct. This is also positive, but we also have Venus opposite to Uranus. Uranus is retrograde. Venus is not, but this is at 29 degrees. Okay, so on the 29th, it could be It could be positive in the morning, but as the day goes on, it could just have a sudden turn and become negative with this Venus opposite to Uranus. Yes, that's what I'm going with. So in the morning, we could have positive. It could even still be volatile because Mercury moving direct, sometimes it takes a while for everything to clear up. But 29th, I see positive in the morning, but changing over to more of a negative, challenging as the day moves on. November the 30th, we have Venus trying to Neptune. That is very positive. Venus enters Sagittarius, and in Bitcoin's chart, we have Venus squaring Venus and Mars squaring to Bitcoin's Uranus. The 30th, I see also as a bit of a challenge. Maybe early in the morning, I could be pretty positive because Venus trying to Neptune happens at 3:47 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. But as the day moves on, I could see that tension will start to building, and it is going to be changing over to a more of a negative, challenged market, especially with Mars square Uranus. So on the 30th, we could have it, looking like it's going to be positive and it's going to keep going, but then all of a sudden it could just turn the market into just this negative downturn because of Mars squaring to Uranus and Venus squaring to Bitcoin's Venus. I hope that wasn't too confusing. I was confusing myself. December the 1st, there was not any transits happening. So whatever happens on November 30th, it will likely follow that momentum from the energies of the 30th. So if it was positive, it'll likely be positive. But if it's negative or ended negatively, it would likely carry over into the 1st of December. December the 2nd, we have Venus sextile to Pluto. That is positive. In Bitcoin's chart, we have Venus sextile to Bitcoin's Mercury. That's positive. So I do feel that the 2nd will be more of a positive day. On the 3rd, though, of December, we have Venus trying to Bitcoin's moon. That is also positive. And that could stay actually positive all day. Towards the very, 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 very end of the day, excuse me, that's the 3rd, it could turn the market more negative because of Mars coming into a square with Bitcoin Saturn, and that happens on the 4th at 2:30 in the morning. So even though it's happening on the 4th, it could be influencing the end of the day on the 3rd. Mars squaring to Saturn. It's aggressive, it's challenging, and I feel like the 4th is going to be a challenging day. That's also the day of the full moon. So Bitcoin's chart, the Sun and Mars are both squared to Saturn. And the North Node is still sextile to Bitcoin Sun. In the general transits, the North Node is squaring to the Moon and the Sun. Let's take a look at this chart because I think that'll be more helpful. This is the full moon. This is general transits. This is December the 4th. This happens at 6:13 p.m. Eastern Standard Time again. It's in Gemini. Mercury rules Gemini. Mercury is direct, so that is positive. We have Uranus coming to this opposition with Lilith. That happens a bit later in December. Mars is squaring to Saturn. Moon is opposite to Venus and Mars and squaring the North Node. And so the Sun is squaring the North Node. Sun and Moon squaring to the North Node. This is another reason why this could be a challenged day. Yeah, that's all I have for that. I feel like this could be more of a challenge day because of that. Mars squaring to Saturn is also a challenge. Yeah, I feel like this could be more of a challenge this full moon. But let's look at Bitcoin's chart just to double check this. So On this full moon, we still have the North Node sextile to Bitcoin Sun. Now, this is okay, wait, no. I'll come back to that afterwards. This is positive, okay? Just in general, this is positive. So again, this North Node sextile to Bitcoin Sun could be a bit of a saving grace. It is currently sextile to Bitcoin Sun as I'm making this video, and we can see the market's been having some challenges over the last week. So perhaps it might not be the saving grace during the full moon to make it positive. It might be overridden by the sun and moon in the general transits chart being squared to the North Node. In Bitcoin's chart, though, the sun and the moon are in positive aspects to Bitcoin's North Node. And the sun, is trying to the midhaven is trying to Bitcoin sun. Jeez. I'm just looking at these charts here just to get an idea. Okay, so Mercury is also square to Bitcoin's Neptune on the day of the full moon. I'm thinking right now as I'm looking at these charts, I do see the 4th as a challenge. On December 7th, the North Node will be in a sextile to Bitcoin's Sun. This is 3 days after the full moon. If it was 2 days after the full moon, I would say that this could have an influence on this full moon. But because it's 3 days afterwards, I feel like it's not going to have as much of an influence on this full moon. So I see this full moon as challenging overall on December the 4th. December 5th, though, the sun is squaring to the North Node in the general charts, and Mars is sextile to Neptune. They happen pretty close. Mars sextile to Neptune happens at almost 3 o'clock in the morning, Eastern Standard Time. Sun squares the North Node at about 6 o'clock in the morning. We also have Mars trine Chiron, Mercury trine Jupiter. And the sun. The 5th could be more a positive day because of the positive transits going on. Sun squaring to the North Node in the general transits charts could be an interruption to that. What I will say about the 5th is it could also, what happens on December the 4th on the full moon, it could, flow into the 5th as well. Volatile, possible greed with sharp drop, then recovery. Okay, so I did write a note, volatile, greed, possible greed with sharp drop, then recovery. And I wrote that because of Sun square the North Node. These other positive transits going on. It could cause a sudden downturn, but then with Mars sextile to Bitcoin's Neptune, it could cause this nice recovery and bring the prices back up and keep them in the positive zone on the 5th. The 5th will also be influenced by the North Node sextile to Bitcoin's Sun. So if there are any challenges on the 5th, they will be quickly cleared up by the influence of December the 7th. December the 6th, I do see that as positive, and December the 7th, I also see it as a very positive day with the North Node sextile to Bitcoin Sun. Very, very positive. So just to recap real quick, the 4th through the 4th and the 5th, those could be a bit challenging. By the 6th, though, if it's not challenging during those 2 days, it will clear up. The 6th, 7th, possibly the 8th will be very positive days for the market. December 8th through the 14th. December 8th, early in the morning, greed from the day before. Very positive. On December 8th, though, we also have Mars squaring to Saturn. Challenging. This is just challenging. I feel that this is going to be a very challenged day, especially also because on December the 9th, Uranus is opposite to Lilith. That is even more challenging. This transit on December the 9th will likely influence December the 8th. So Mars squaring Saturn, that's challenging. Negative. Uranus opposite to Lilith could add on to the challenges on the 8th. 8th and 9th, I see that to be very, very, very challenging days for the market. And that's in the general transits chart. This transit, this transit could last for a couple of days. On December the 10th, Neptune does go direct, and that could be positive for the market. That could help to clear some things up, to clear up some confusion that's been occurring within the world that's affecting the markets. Uranus opposite to Lilith. I see this having a long duration influence, and this could, whatever happens around the 8th and 9th in the world, will likely spill over into the market, and I could see it lasting through to the 11th. Possibly even the 11th and the 12th. I keep switching pages. Yeah. December 8th, starting December 8th, even the 7th, this Uranus opposite Lilith could have an influence. So start a lookout on December the 8th for the market to possibly have a turn. And I know I said this North Node sextile to Lilith, sextile to Bitcoin's sun is very positive, and it is. Evening of the 7th, but more on the 8th, look for the market to start to becoming more negative and challenged. And I really feel that this Uranus opposite Lilith will be more challenging than we even are anticipating. Market crash. That depends on what happens in the world. It depends on world influences on the market. Uranus, sudden disruption. It's in Taurus. Lilith is like this almost wanting to vengeful. I could see this as more of a and it's in Scorpio. Maybe something possibly with banks, finances, not the markets, but something with the finances of, I don't want to say countries. Could be countries, could be currencies that are having some issues, causing like this tidal wave of market downturn. Tariffs. I see this with the financial sector of the world, of events within finances that could be causing the issue. It could also be people protesting or fighting back against forces that they feel like they need to not get revenge, but they need to right the wrongs of things that have happened anywhere around the world. You know, some kind of information could be revealed, exposed, released, leaked, and people get very mad and upset about it, and they want to get back at the people who have done these wrongs. Something like that could also occur. It could be countries, could be groups of people, or it could even be financial with banks, something. And because Uranus is in Taurus, it could also be earth events, earthquakes, volcanoes that happen that causes to have financial issues. Yeah. Maybe governments don't send aid somewhere, and the people who need this aid are standing up and fighting and causing chaos. Okay, enough about that. All right, so that was the 9th. And I said I feel like this is going to leak and go into the 11th and the 12th. So I feel like the 8th through the 12th could be more of a challenging energies within the market. The 13th seems to be like it could be clearing up for that day, for just that day. Because Mercury sextiling to Pluto and Mercury sextiling to Mercury in Bitcoin's chart. Positive for trading, very positive. Maybe people are investing because the prices are low to make a profit. Or from Uranus opposite Lilith, if it is something with finances and banks, maybe the dollar is devalued further, and that could be causing people to invest more into the crypto market, or commodities. The 14th, we have Mars squaring to Neptune. This, I feel, is very challenging. Mars, Neptune, both at 29 degrees. Neptune is direct, though, but it's still very challenging. That's in the general transits. And we also have Sun sextile to Neptune in the general transits with the moon. And Mars squaring to Neptune could be like a sudden fall, sudden negative in the market, and then there's like this sudden turnaround, because with the Sun sextile to Neptune, that is positive, unexpected surprises for the market. Maybe like a flash crash on the 14th earlier in the morning, and then all of a sudden it rebounds and comes back, the prices, especially with the Sun sextile to Neptune. But I do have to put a warning out for that one with the Sun sextile Neptune. Neptune does the most unexpected things. So while I'm saying that, maybe like a flash crash in the morning and then positive in the evening, it could be the opposite. It could be positive in the morning and then maybe a flash crash or something happens negatively during the Sun sextile to Neptune. When there are Neptune transits or planets transiting or talking to Bitcoin's Neptune, always expect the unexpected. So the 14th, I would say that is another large day for, large market movement. Unexpected it could be as well. All right, so that's the 14th. Coming to the last couple of days in this month. 15th to the 17th, large market movement. Again, Neptune starting on the 14th seems to be a trend in the transits, dominant in the transits. Neptune will trine Lilith on the 15th. This could be very, very positive for the markets. And on the 16th, Lilith will trine to a sextile to Bitcoin's Neptune. 15th to the 17th, I see this as very positive period for the market. Very positive. 15th, 14th. Maybe even starting in the evening of the 14th, we could start, if there was issues on the 14th, challenges on the 14th. By the evening, I could see that as turning around with the influence of Neptune sextile to Bitcoin's Jupiter and Neptune trying to Lilith on the 15th. This will likely last 2 to 3 days after these transits happen as well, and that'll take us to the very end of the cycle, which I do see as overall positive market momentum. The only challenge on the 17th that could be just for a little bit of time is Venus is squaring to Bitcoin Saturn. So on the 17th, we could have some challenges in the late evening. And that is the forecast for now through the end of the next cycle. I'm going to have to come back and revisit this because I know that as things unfold and events unfold, sometimes things change in the market. So I will come back and revisit this just to see if what I've said is true, correct, and if things are changing, if there has to be other adjustments to this forecast. But for now, this is my forecast.